Good evening, ndi madekwana vhuḓi khezwo ndi khou vha ṱanganedza kha That's It with Mesh. Welcome to That's It with Mesh. Vhana nṋe ndi Mashudu Madzivani, with me your host Mashudu Madzivani. So today we are back with yet another video. I hope you are going to enjoy this one because it's one of a kind. Today we are going to teach each other basics, Venḓa basics, right? I know that most of the people want to learn this language Venḓa. Others say that it's very difficult, it's very tongue twisting, it's complicated, but I'm here to make it simple for you to learn this language. Ndi fhano uri ndi vha gudise kana ndi tori zwi leluwe kha vhone uri vha gude luambo lwa Tshivenḓa. So today we'll start with the basics, the greetings in Venḓa. So we have different kind of greetings, we have different ways of greeting each other. Let's just say you want to say good morning. You want to surprise your Venḓa neighbor and say, or your Venḓa friend and say good morning in Venḓa. You say ndi matsheloni. And then the one you are greeting will reply and say the macheloni abode. It still means good morning, right? So if someone says good morning to you, you say if someone says good morning to you, you say good morning, right? And then in Venḓa, when you say the macheloni, you are the first one to greet, say the macheloni, and then the person will reply and say macheloni abode, which still means good morning. It's more like agreeing with you. It's more like nothing changes, just add the word abudi, right? And then you say ndi macheloni, and then the person will reply and say ndi macheloni abudi. Abudi still means good morning, right? It still means good morning. And then when you want to say good afternoon, ndi masiari, right? Ndi masiari. It's more like reporting to the person or making the person aware that it's afternoon, right? You are saying ndi masiari, but we use it as a form of greeting. You know, it's different when you greet in the morning, when you greet in the afternoon, when you greet in the evening, we use different words, right? So when you say ndi masiari, you are saying good afternoon, and then the person again will reply and say ndi masiari avhuḓi, right? Afternoon ndi masiari. You are greeting a person, you're just meeting the person. They say meet the person on the road or somewhere, or you're just waking up, you want to greet your neighbor, you just look at them and say hey ndi macheloni, and then they will say ndi macheloni avhuḓi, it's good morning, and then they say hey good morning. You see, so that's how it is in Venḓa. So when you say ndi masiari, it's good afternoon, and then ndi madekwana is evening, right? You say good evening is ndi madekwana. Ndi madekwana, that's good evening in Venḓa. And then the person will, you say in Venḓa ndi madekwana is good evening, the person will say madekwana avhuḓi, right? You see, ndi macheloni is morning, and then the person will say macheloni avhuḓi. Ndi masiari, afternoon, the person will say ndi masiari avhuḓi. Evening, the person will say, you will say good evening ndi madekwana, the person will say ndi madekwana avhuḓi. So let's repeat them one by one in Venḓa. Number one, I said chautoma ndori. Number one, I said chautoma ndori. Good morning. Good morning in Venḓa is ndi macheloni, right? Good afternoon. Good afternoon in Venḓa is ndi masiari. Good evening. Good evening in Venḓa is ndi madekwana. Then when you reply, if someone says that to you, you just have to repeat what they said and add the word abudi. Let's say it's ndi macheloni, you say ndi macheloni, but you add abudi, then you say ndi macheloni abudi. That's you replying to the person, right? You responding to the person, and then the person will say ndi masiari. It's when it's afternoon. You just have to say to repeat what they said, ndi masiari, but at the end you add avhuḓi. Then you'll say ndi masiari avhuḓi. And then in the evening, same thing. The person will come to you and say, good evening, right? And then you will have to repeat what they said. And then the person will say, ndi madekwana. You just have to repeat what the person said and say, ndi madekwana. And then you add avhuḓi. That's you responding to the person now. Ndi madekwana we, ndi madekwana avhuḓi. Ndi matsheloni avhuḓi. Ndi masiari avhuḓi. Now, another form of greeting in Venḓa, let's just say you want to say basic things. You want to say, how are you? So what's confusing in our language is that we have different ways of saying these things. Some of them are more like slang languages. Some of them we just the language is evolving. And so, because back then they used to say, let's say you are passing by people collecting water at the river, they used to say ria nwawi, right? It was referring to drinking water, because the people who were collecting water, you're passing by, and then they used to say ria nwawi. And then when the language evolves, and then we ended up no longer using those words. And then now, when you are passing or when you are greeting a person, when you say how are you to any person, it's either male or female. How are you? The words you can use is who ri ni. It's how are you? Who ri ni, right? Who ri ni. And then the person will respond and say ndi hone. Ndi hone. Ndi hone. Who ri ni. The person will say ndi hone. It's I'm fine. Ndi hone. And then when you want to say how are you doing? How are you doing? You can say huto ita hani. How are you doing? Huto ita hani. So pay attention. These two things are different. How are you is hu rini. How are you doing is huto ita hani. Right? And then the person will say, I ndotakala, I am fine. So for today, that will be it for today. Ridogumane upon the musi. So let's meet next time when we continue with our Venḓa lessons. With me, your host Mashudune Madzivani. Vanane mugudisi wabo Mashudune Madzivani. Usukale chifhinga chidaho asikhwine zwenezwo. Nda.